They say it's a myth. They say it's hate. But when you trace the science in the scriptures, what you find is a pattern too precise to ignore. 6,000 years ago, according to the teachings of the Nation of Islam, a brilliant but misguided black scientist named Yakub began an experiment on the island of Patmos. Not just a science experiment, an agenda. He wanted to engineer a new people by isolating the lightest traits in our gene pool, generation after generation. Through selective breeding, he began grafting out the dominant traits of original people, melanin, compassion, connection to the divine, and left behind something else. A being with little pigmentation, recessive traits, aggression hardwired through scarcity. And while they laugh at the idea, science quietly confirms what they mock. Recessive traits only rise in isolated populations. That's not mythology, that's evolutionary biology. It's called a genetic bottleneck. European populations, especially those descending from the last ice age, are genetically linked to a very small founder group, likely less than 200 individuals. And when you isolate a population, what happens? The weaker traits that would normally be masked by dominant melanin, start to express. Red hair, pale skin, blue eyes, and lower levels of melanin come with consequences. Weaker immune function, inability to absorb sunlight, higher rates of neurodegenerative disease. That's not opinion, that's peer-reviewed. The MC1R gene governs melanin expression. In melanin-dominant people, it regulates deep pigmentation, UV protection, and energy conversion. In melanin-recessive populations, mutations in this gene result in depigmentation, traits that make the body vulnerable in sunlight, mentally unstable under pressure, and cut off from vibrational memory. And here's the part that connects the science to the soul. Once Yakub's creation reached critical mass, they were exiled into the caves of West Asia, what we now call Europe. There, in the cold, dark isolation of mountains and ice, survival wasn't about harmony, it was about domination. Over thousands of years, a culture emerged that saw nature not as divine, but as something to conquer. Scarcity bred greed. Sunlight became an enemy. And from this cauldron, the false systems we now live under were born. White supremacy, colonization, capitalism, it all traces back to a cold world mindset forged in those caves. So when they ask, where do white people really come from? The answer isn't just Europe, it's grafted mutation, it's selective survival, it's a legacy of trying to escape the sun, and the truth that lives in it. And that's why they still try to block it out, why they dim the skies with chemicals, why they can't exist without stealing our rhythm, our melanin, our memory. But what they forget is this. No matter how far you run from the sun, you can't escape the truth written in your origin. And now that truth is rising, again.